Hi, it's Kathy from Books at Bishopstone, and I just wanted to make a quick video to talk about the latest book that I have read. So this was one of my book club books, and I will show you. This is it here. It is The Muse by Jessie Burton, and as you can see, yes, it's from our book club. So this book, when I picked it up, I got quite excited because when I read this little blurb here, it is saying that this is written by the same author who wrote The Miniaturist. The Miniaturist, well, I didn't read the book. I must admit, I have only just seen the TV series, which I absolutely loved. And I loved the whole historical context of a story set back in Amsterdam, revolving around marriage, a woman's a new wife's place in coming into a new family, into a new town. It was a story about I guess wheeling and dealing in a town, and people who are a little bit different fitting in. So I like, and also it centered around a doll's house and some not spooky, but some little bit unusual things happening to do with this doll's house and the people around it. And so I really loved it. I loved everything about it. I loved the whole concept of the story. There were so many threads to it. So I was really, really excited to start this book. I actually have 2 books at the moment that I'm reading for book club. I've just finished this one and started the next one. But I decided to read this one first because I love The Miniaturist so much. So much. I had really high expectations for this book. And I don't know if it's a good idea or not. Sometimes going into a book having an expectation, especially a really high expectation. I guess I was looking for another historical... I guess I was just looking for another story like The Miniaturist. Well, this is very different. This has a lot of things in the book that I really like. Yeah. So I've got some notes here. So I'm just going to look down to look at my notes because I'm notoriously bad at remembering things. Okay, so Jessie Burton. She is a London-based writer, and okay, so we open with the very, very first sentence in this book saying, "Not all of us receive the ends we desire." And the ends we desire, the ends we dream. Oh my gosh. Oh, the ends we deserve. Not all of us receive the ends that we deserve. So great start. Fantastic first sentence. Oh my gosh, where are we going? So the book kind of starts in the 1960s in London with Adele, who wants to be a writer. Now, Adele has arrived a few years previously from the West Indies. I don't think it really, maybe it says where she's from, but anyway, she comes from the West Indies. She's moved to London for a new life. And yeah, so she wants to be a writer, but she ends up finding herself working in a shoe shop, doesn't really like that. So she ends up getting a job at an art dealer's, which to her, she's just the secretary at the art dealer's, but at least she's somewhere a little bit more in an area that she finds interesting. And of course, she meets a man. There's always got to be a romance. Yeah, so she meets a man with a painting. So she meets a man with a painting who then, this is the painting that the whole book revolves around, really. Yes. I will go into that a bit later. Then we jump back to, I think it's 1936 in rural Spain, where we meet Olive Schloss. who lives with her parents, and her father is an art dealer. And she dreams of becoming a painter. She's actually very talented. She actually gets a place in an art school, I think in London. But her dad, who is the art dealer, just cannot see that she has talent. For some, is it a sexist thing? Is it just that he's too busy working, that doesn't really care about his family? Who knows? But seems to be oblivious to the fact that his daughter has great artistic talent. And her mother has kind of, I don't know, depression, I suppose. Her mother also seems quite unaware of her daughter and of much else apart from herself. And yeah, so there is Olive kind of by herself, kind of navigating this move to rural Spain from London. I think they'd moved from, and did they move from London? Anyway, they had moved to rural Spain. And of course, in the same way, she meets a man who is a painter. And there starts our woven story. 2 timelines, yes, they come together. The story then goes on to tell us about this painting. So this painting in the 1960s gets brought into the art dealership where Adele is working, and to be valued, it's found out to be a companion piece to one that hangs in the Guggenheim. Oh my gosh, isn't this a stunning, fantastic find? And it's worth quite a bit of money. Then as the story goes by, we start unraveling the story of who actually painted this painting, where did this painting come from? And then there's, as in the title says, the Muse. And who is the Muse? What is the Muse and who is the Muse? And the Muse being in both ways, the Muse for the painting and the Muse for the writing. There's also a theme of, I guess, is there a theme of feminism running through this? Women trying to carve out follow their own desires, have a career from what they want, or just being seen for who they are, runs through this book. We have this concept of the value of art is a piece of artwork, and this is something I could talk about for ages because I find it quite fascinating. The concept that how much is an art piece worth? Is it worth more simply because it has a well-known and established painter behind it? Or are people actually looking at the painting and judging it on its painting ability regardless of whether the painter is well known or not? Or in some cases, is it if it is done by a woman compared to a man? This story has gone on for years, decades, centuries. Women were kept out of the art world. There were always been women painters, but women never got recognition. Women were never allowed to join like the London Academy of Art for a very long time. Women really had to fight for a place, and when they managed to get seen by men, I don't think they were really seen. So, of course, very hard in that context, so this is all kind of together in this book. And what did I think of the book? I like the concepts in the book, and I like the characters in the book. I mean, I don't mind the dual timeline. Working in the modern time, we're kind of detecting, working out what happened in the past, where did this painting come from, how did it arise, and all those things. I did find as I was reading it that maybe about 3/4 of the way through, I was kind of losing interest, losing pace. I know that there's 2 romantic stories in there. I wasn't particularly invested in the 2 romantic stories that much. I really didn't care. Does that sound horrible? I really didn't care about the romance and whether or not they continued on or they didn't continue on, but they are there, I guess, as a, I don't know, I mean, it sits around the idea of the muse as well, is where this kind of, yeah, maybe the romances are to do with the muse. I don't know. You'd have to read the book and let me know what you think. The other thing I was thinking while reading this, last year, I think it was last year, in our book club, where we read a book called, and let me just see, have I got it written down here? A book called Horse, which now I don't remember. I didn't write down the author. So that was a book, a very similar style book. It was a book about a painting that was found, put out on a rubbish collection type thing. Someone picked it up, looked at it. It was a painting of a beautiful horse, and it turns out to be a really famous race horse, very well known, and by a very well known painter. Then we have a timeline, modern time, when this painting is found. So this horse painting is found, and then we've got a time set quite a long time ago when the painting was actually painted, and alongside the horse, there's also an African American in the painting as well. So like a horse handler, someone who worked in the stable. So you have in that book much more of a story of racism kind of runs through it. Like I guess when the painting is being painted, we have a story there of slavery and in your face kind of racism, and then you jump to the modern time where there is still racism around, and but not quite, I guess, in a way, not quite so much in your face. So I guess I was kind of thinking about parallels between the two books as I was reading the Muse. I think I did find the horse a little bit more engaging. I'm not quite sure why. I don't know whether the topic of the way the author wrote about racism, and that was kind of maybe a bit more engaging to me than maybe in the Muse, where the discussion about feminism, I don't know if feminism is the right word, but about the female struggle, was not quite as engaging. I'm not sure. I don't know. I mean, I did enjoy this book. Now that it's, I think I almost feel as well like I need a few more days to actually maybe think about it a little bit more. I mean, and I think, now I'm just trying to think about it actually. Maybe one of the reasons is because I went into this book thinking about the miniaturist, her first novel, which I really, really, really enjoyed, and I enjoyed everything about that book. And when I started reading the Muse, of course, it wasn't like that at all. So maybe I was judging it too harshly because I was expecting something a little bit different, which is always a problem if you kind of go in with an expectation or a thought or about a book. So I would say that I enjoyed reading it. Yes, I did lose a bit of momentum about 3/4 of the way through. I didn't enjoy it as much as her first book, but that was simply because yeah, I don't know. I was going to say simply because I was going to say because I like the historical context of the first one, but then I wouldn't really say that because I really enjoy discussions about art and concept of art. Well, because art is a concept in terms of how much we pay for it. So, yes, I think, I mean, I would definitely read more of her books if something comes my way that she writes another one. Of course, I would love to read it. I would be really fascinated to see actually where her next novel might go, because these two are so different. Her first two novels are so very, very different to each other. I do realise that this was written 9 years ago, so I haven't even checked actually to see whether or not she has got a new novel out. So maybe she has another one, and that would be interesting to see. Yeah, it wasn't a book that I raced through because I think I was finding it a little bit harder because I was less interested the further I got into it. But and maybe another one of those books where the ending leaves me a little bit. Well, the ending was very nicely finished, and it was all nicely sewn up, and we have a really happy ending in it. Not that I don't mind a happy ending, but sometimes I think the happy ending is, what would I say? Sometimes I think it can be quite convenient, and in this way I kind of thought the happy ending, yeah, it was plausible and nice, and that's probably all I would say for it. But I would also say that the very last sentence interested me. So the last sentence in the book says, "A piece of art only succeeds when its curator possesses the belief that brings it into being." Oh, let me just say that again. A piece of art only succeeds when its creator possesses the belief that brings it into being. So maybe we should all be less critical of our own work and believe it into being. Oh, so much easier said than done. We are all so very critical of our own work, and I think it's very hard to not be critical of our own work. But yeah, I just thought that was a nice little way to finish the book. I love a book that has a really great first line and a really great last line, something to hang on to. And this book definitely has that. So, yes, The Muse by Jessie Burton. If you've read it, leave a comment. I'd love to know what you thought of it, and what you think about the whole art proposal as well. How we value art. Does it really matter by the who has painted it, or should it just go on the skill? I don't know. Big topics. Maybe something we need to talk about later. But anyway, that's the latest book I've read. Thank you for joining me, and I hope to hear from you in the comments. Bye.